Hey YouTubers out there, this is the Maniac, and my apologies for being so close to the camera about this. The problem is that I have very specific recording equipment and I have very specific video equipment, and I have to be really close to the audio equipment for you to hear me. Otherwise, you just won't hear me at all. And if I had some better equipment, it might be easier, or I might be able to hide it easier, but unfortunately, you can't. Um, so, um, Quick little update. I will be getting my new TV on Thursday. The shipping company's finally sent me an email saying that they weren't able to get a hold of me for about a week, and that's because I've started working. And I was basically always unable to take their calls. I didn't even know they were going to be calling. So they sent me an email, and I covered for it. So they're coming, bring me a new TV on Thursday. So a little bit about that. Now on to what you guys are interested about. This, yes, I have played it end to end, cover to cover, and I gotta say, it is definitely a fun game. It is extremely addictive too, and I'm gonna go into what's up with it in just a couple seconds. My first initial when I started playing it, it is basically Uncharted. It is basically just more and more Uncharted. It's got better graphical fidelity, however. It's got more arenas, more places, more vistas that you can visit. It doesn't stick itself to the jungle environment. There's ice environments. There's urban environments in third world countries. It's basically all around. It has and plus that having been said, I'm noticing that this game is getting perfect scores across the board. There are problems with it, and I gotta say that there's only one person online right now talking about its problems. And let me tell you, the guy's problems that he's having with it are completely wrong. The guy appears to be an idiot. I'm noticing completely different issues with it, to tell you the truth. And this guy was basically saying only one thing, that the puzzles weren't varied, and the jumping platforming was basically the same all the way through. Guy's an idiot. The puzzles were varied, actually. Yeah, they were a little bit too simple for him, but the truth was, is like, I don't want to play a game where I'm hung up constantly on the puzzles and having to look for a walkthrough. I hated that time back in 1997, 1998, up to 1999, where I constantly had to look up walkthroughs just to get through a freaking level, because the level was either a maze, which isn't fun, or I couldn't figure out how to progress through some stupidly complex problem. Um, so I'm glad that this game didn't have these problems. And the guy's an idiot for saying this. That having been said, it did have its own problems, not with the puzzling. Now, the first game, it didn't really have this problem with the first game. It only has this problem with the second game, and that is that usually when you're doing platforming in the first game, most of the graphical areas have like a Hanna-Barbera effect on things you can grab onto. There is usually a subtle, very subtle difference in certain types of grapple points, especially in the first. And by the way, I'm talking about the first game here. It is a Hanna-Barbera effect. It did look unnatural, but it didn't look out of place. It definitely told you where you could grapple onto and where you couldn't grapple onto. The second game, however, does not it doesn't have that Hanna-Barbera effect for the grapple points. Now, that may be, good for some purists or some artistic people, but the truth is I want to know what I can grab onto and what I can't grab onto, and sometimes I'm walking around area to area, like, where do I go from here? I don't know, because I can't see the effect. I can't see the Hanna-Barbera effect for what to grapple onto. So that was a little bit of frustrating. Secondly, I am noticing that there are some small minor graphical hitches, particularly with texture, where textures align with other textures. Now I'm playing at 720 on a 1080p screen. Oh, so the kitty out using HDMI. So maybe it's the fact that I'm playing in high definition. I'm noticing these texture trashings, but seriously, I don't want to see them at all. You guys are playing on a console. You should be able to, notice when two textures intersect. I don't want to see a white line with aliasing on it in between two textures wherever I look at it on a funny angle. I understand that there's probably, once you realize that it's there, there's absolutely no way to fix this usually. So even if it was caught in testing, it probably couldn't have been fixed. But I don't know. Fix your textures. I don't know. Also, the final issue I had with it was that it had a big problem with getting to points where I could duck down onto. Now, this game is very hard. Even on the easy difficulty, you're going to die at least a dozen times at specific choke points. And that's because the game throws a lot of enemies at you. The enemies take a while to kill, and you are very easy to kill, especially if you're out in the open for just a couple of seconds. This is even on easy mode. You're going to die at least a dozen times easy. You're going to have to memorize where the guys are, and you're going to have to be able to take them out quickly, and hopefully get headshots. And the weapons sometimes have throwback; they are inaccurate sometimes too. So you're going to need to really aim and focus while people are shooting at you. And the problem with that is that, well, you're going to get killed. You can't be accurate. You can't be accurate because you're going to get hit first. And but again, this is just a small nitpick. Most of the time, you'll be able to make through areas just fine. But here's the issue. The issue is, God, I don't even know where I'm going with this right now. Well, basically, when you're, I don't know how to put this into words. Wherever you hit the circle button, which basically allows you to duck down a la Gears of War into specific spots. Well, what happens is that the game decides, however it decides, which spot it's going to grapple onto, and sometimes it's going to sink down to a lower precipice, basically inviting you as a giant target. The game is not smart. Is like a lot of times I will be literally up against a wall and and pressing the circle button repeatedly, trying to grapple. Trying to get up against that wall, and the game, for whatever reason, will not allow me to do it. It will either put me up, throw me up against another wall in the other spot, which basically puts me as an open target against the people that are currently shooting at me at that second. Or if I'm on a ledge, or even close to being to any ledge, it will throw me down to the ledge, also inviting me as an open target, of which I will die. This was incredibly annoying, and nobody's talked about it, actually. The game has a major problem with figuring out where the heck it wants you to grapple onto. Even if you're up against the wall, it doesn't matter. It'll just throw onto whatever it randomly feels like throwing you onto. I don't know why it does that. That having been said, it is definitely a fantastic game. The story is fantastic. The characters are absolutely fantastic. I loved the first Uncharted game. However, the first Uncharted game didn't have a lot of these problems that I was noticing in the second game. Now, this could be because the game maybe was a bit rushed to release. I don't know. It does feel like it could have used a couple more weeks of bug testing. I gotta give it that. I was noticing no other problems with it, though, to tell you the truth, other than the grapple points and basically that added to the difficulty. That having been said, I can't put the damn game down. I've been playing it like crazy since I got it on Saturday. A friend of mine got it for me, even though I haven't been paid yet. A friend of mine got a 2 for 3, got a 3 for 2 deal at Toys R Us, which is actually a really good deal, and because of that, he got the free game anyway. He gave it to me and said I could pay him back whenever. So this review is dedicated to you, my friend. And it is a great game. If you have a PlayStation 3, definitely pick it up. Although if you don't have a PlayStation 3, you're probably not going to like a PlayStation 3 game at all. You're probably a fanboy of whatever else you're playing. So I don't have that problem. I have all consoles. But it's definitely not anything to get a PS3 over. I would probably say the Resistance Fall of Man was actually the thing to get a PS3 over, and probably still is to this day. But Uncharted 2, definitely a fantastic game. Definitely, if you got a PS3, why aren't you playing it right now? Go right ahead and play it. But these are a few of the problems that I have with the game. It is not perfect. So hopefully you enjoyed this quick review, and take care.